Hi, and welcome to the Pet Healer Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Mitsie Vargas, and today I have a very special guest. He's my spiritual mentor and friend, Reverend Bill Mcdonald. And he's also a poet and veteran, decorated with so many medals. I've seen him wear his uniform, and it's impressive. And he has done a lot of things, consulting for films and documentaries. He's written many books. I have one of his books right here. I read Alchemy of the Warrior's Heart, and this is Warrior Spiritual Odyssey. So I've read two of his books, and they're amazing. He's a great storyteller. But one of the things that you might think, well, this is a podcast about healing, alternative healing, and healing with acupuncture and all of these modalities that are not mainstream. Why am I bringing a reverend? Well, this reverend has also out-of-body experiences, NDEs, and very mystical experiences. And we wanted to talk because on our daily communication, because like I mentioned, he's my spiritual mentor, and I'm so grateful for him in my life. And he's mentioned several times about the power of healing with intention. And I said, well, there is a chapter in my book about healing with intention, and I have a lot of uses for it in my day-to-day practice. When I have a very sick animal, I put him on a prayer group. I pray over them. I send angels. I try to visualize light coming, through my hands, from God and going into the animal. So I do a lot of things that he does. And so and he has many stories to tell us. And so first of all, Reverend, welcome to my podcast. You're my first Skype interview, so I'm very, very honored that you accepted this.
No, it is I who am honored. And I hope to give this broadcast a little of my energy. And you're correct in one thing about healing energy and all that stuff. That is really all I'm about, even though it comes off as time as love, always about love and compassion and forgiveness. No, all that is healing. Love in all its forms, compassion, forgiveness, sympathy, empathy, all these things, does heal the body, does heal the soul, does heal the mind. And so I teach people in my workshops that, first off, the real healer, the real teacher and the real healer is within you. It's not outside of you. Everybody's looking for somebody to do this for them. And in the real world, it's already in your own hands. It's already in your own heart. It's in your own universe that's inside of you. The human race, people, and you've run across this being a veterinarian, they tend to think of this separation between man and animal and plant and the earth and the sky and the water. I mean, I get really crazy about this, but once you get to a certain place, you realize that we're all just a different vibration from the creator. We're all made out of the same thing, atoms, different structures. But basically, if you take it down to basic constraints of everything is creative, it's all atoms, right? So the dog, the cat, they're vibrating just like you. And what makes all these atoms go and spin around their little orbits, it's love. People call it energy, you call it light. I just say it's all love. So when you're working with animals in particular, let's talk about that, because when I was 9 years old, I experienced my first awareness that I could heal something or somebody. And I had this profound experience that week. I just came home from the hospital. I was in the hospital 1 year, from 8 years old till after about 9.5 years old. I was in a county hospital. I was a ward in the hospital. And I was bedridden. I had nothing but time on my hands 24/7. No TV, no radio, no iPhone, no internet, Skype, no Zoom, right? No tools, no visitors. Once a month for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Because you were in an infectious disease room, right?
Right. So there I was, and I had nothing going. When I got out, I what's really interesting, one of the first things I did when I got out of the hospital was I became a vegetarian. Now, nobody in my family was vegetarian, but there was this great empathy and everything. I'm not gonna eat that. So I became a vegetarian, and it seems to change the course of my life. And the first week I was home, I was with my mother, and there was a sound of a choir of feminine voices singing this beautiful chorus of music. It was like, wow, what is this? And my mother goes, you got the radio on? You got a record playing? I said, no. So we went around the house, checked TV, radio, record players. People used to listen to records. My grandkids, I don't even know if they know what that is. But there wasn't anything playing in the house. So we went outside. We thought a neighbor was playing it. We walked all around our neighborhood, and wherever we went, the volume of this choir singing this beautiful, spiritual, uplifting music that I'd never heard before. I mean, it was not so much, it was not like words in a song. It was more like tones, kind of like Ave Maria, which is, if you stretch that out, it's kind of like sounds, but I can't make it. It was just a bunch of sounds, but it was beautiful. And it was kind of, my spine felt like it was vibrating. And my mother and I, she goes, finally, after we couldn't find the source of it, she goes, the angels are singing to you. And I said, wow, okay, that's kind of cool.
But it was a shared experience. She heard it too?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we both heard it. So it was like, either we're both going crazy together, we're both delusional. We drank the same drink, same Kool-Aid. But a few days later, we had a pet poodle, a miniature, and it ran out in front of our house, ran over, a guy going about 35, 40 miles an hour, hit the dog flew up in the air, and just landed out on the street, on the asphalt, just tongue hanging out, bleeding, out of the corner of his mouth, typical getting hit by a car type injuries.
And a little dog. So a little dog is usually fatal.
Yeah, 35 miles an hour is a pretty good whack. So I go out there and I see the dog that is just whimpering, not very strongly, just whimpering. And I picked it up in my arms and I brought it in the house and I held on to it. And then I visualized light coming into the top of my head. I didn't know scientific terms. I didn't study anything. I just pictured this light coming into me and lighting me up. And then I took my hands, because I could actually see, feel, more than visualize. The light was coming out of my fingertips, and I put my hands on this dog. And then my body tensed up, kind of like dramatic tension, like when you see a guy working out, they could go, like they're lifting weights, but they're not, but it's working the muscles. It was the same kind of thing. It was like energy, but it wasn't being spent anywhere except the fingertips. It was coming out the fingertips. It was just, so I did this for about 2.5 minutes, and I was exhausted. Then the dog jumped up, ran around the house. That was it. Never took it to the vet. I'm sorry you lost that one.
You're in California, so that's okay.
Yeah, no income for the vet. But the dog ran around. I'm going, at 9 years old, you think I'd been excited and go, wow, that was kind of cool. That was like, no, I expected that. Because while I'm visualizing this energy, I am loving my dog. Mm-hmm. It was love that was pulling this energy. It was love that was pulling this light. I'm not a healer. Only God is a healer. Some of us can work as busboys in a restaurant. You go clean the table, you bring the dishes over, but you're not the cook, right? The cook prepares the meal, and then the patient eats it, right? So the patient gets well. So all you can be and I can be is just a waiter or a busboy. I'm not even elevated to a waiter. I'm just a busboy. So I open it up. It's like a channel, but it's never me. I always get upset when I meet these. I don't say anything to them because I'm a healer. These people advertise themselves. I'm a healer. I did this. I help people. I counsel. No, you don't. Only the Creator does.
Yeah.
Only God does. The best we can hope for is to be a tool. you know, a color on the palette of this great artistic work that God is painting. You know, just make me a color. You know, just put me on there. I don't know. Anyway, so that was the first experience with that. I tell you, the last experience I've had, which was 2 weeks ago. I think you probably watched my video I just did about the dentist.
That's what gave me the idea to have you in the show, because I was, I was impressed, and I'm like, we are doing the same thing. So,
because what you're doing is very similar to what I talk about. See, what I did is I took what I learned, and I don't know how I learned it at that age. And then when I was 18 years old, I moved to Hawaii, and I was under the tutelage of a kahuna, David K. Bray. And he was like the intimate kahuna, you know, guy in Hawaii. And he, hang on a second, and he taught me all these things. And basically what he taught me was all healing has to start with you. In other words, you want to change somebody, you want to heal somebody, even if it's an animal, you want to heal an animal, you have to cleanse and heal and love yourself. Because if you want to give love and you want to give all this, you got to make sure you're ready to, you have to take care of you first. Only way you can change anything. That includes love. So one of the things I learned was plants, animals, the earth, the water, you, me, everything. Everything thrives and grows when it's loved. When you remove love from a plant, it's like taking away the light.
Yeah.
It's like that plant behind you, those orchids. Obviously, somebody loves it. It's blossoming. It's happy there. Mm-hmm. It's, paying attention to it. People don't realize they're giving things like that love just by looking at it and going, oh, that's beautiful. Just the thought of that, there's a connection between you and that plant. Pets are very special. Pets are very, very special. People don't realize that when the animal comes to you and you pet it and you caress it and you run your hands over the surface of their fur, their hair, whatever, you're transferring love, energy. You're actually helping their personal vibration, their spiritual vibration. People, they don't have, now, I believe that they may have a group soul or whatever, but there's a spirit there. And that spirit is uplifted. And for those that believe in evolution, spiritual evolution, and, you start as some amoeba and you work on up and all that stuff, you get to be a cat or a dog, you're pretty close to becoming a human in some future lifetime. If people believe that. Now, if you believe that, I'm looking at that and saying, boy, when you pet a pet and you love a pet, you're elevating that individual one, that animal right there, to rise above its species, to be the next level of incarnation. I've met people to believe that, and I'm not going to argue with that. All I know is that when you pet an animal, it transforms them. If you can't do nothing else for an animal, you got no medicine, give them love.
Yeah.
And so this last couple of weeks, I'm always out there trying to find ways to teach people to heal. And so something happened to me, and when things happen to me, I don't judge them. Oh, this is terrible. I'm a victim. I bit into something that had a pit in it. It was supposed to be pitless, a date piece of fruit. And it destroyed 3 teeth. It broke 3 teeth. And I posted on my timeline of one of the x-rays of one of the teeth. You could see half the tooth, shoved down into the nerve. And it was very painful. Now, at that point in time, somebody go, oh my God, it's painful. How, and just go crazy and phone up everybody in the world, trying to get help and bang on doors, complain and everything. And, well, trying to get into a dentist office, this is 2021. Nobody went to the dentist last year.
Yeah.
And so everybody's going in now. They got their shots. Everybody's going in March, April, May. Now it's, you can't get it. You can't get an appointment.
Vets too. Yeah, everybody's taking care of everything right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like in California, you're months away from appointment. Yeah. So I finally went to this dentist, one dentist out of all the ones I called in my area, in Northern California. One, I decided to call him at 6 o'clock in the morning on his emergency line. I go, well, nobody's returning my calls at their office. So I call you, hello, poor guy. And so I said, well, I don't know if it's emergency, but I got 3 broken teeth. And I know one's down in my nerve. I can feel it, and I can't sleep. I can't eat. Well, my office call to see if so anyway, they called. I got in. The guy looks at it, takes the x-rays, and he goes, yep, you're right. You got 3 broken teeth. Well, what's next? Well, I ain't got any appointments till July. And this was like, the middle of May, right? July. I'm going, July. I said, doctor, what part of I can't eat, I can't sleep? He says, well, we'll put you on something kids cancel, we'll move you up. So the first date they got me was July 28th or something. And so I didn't complain. I just said, the universe will take care of it. I'll get it when I need it. So I went home and I said, well, I got to be able to sleep. I could go months without food. That's not a problem. Seriously, I could go a long time without food. But sleep, 2 or 3 days, you're going to become bad shape. If you go a week without sleep, you're psychotic. I mean, it's really bad for you. So I applied my healing technique. Remember the light? So I'm visualizing the light coming in through so now I got words I didn't have at 9 years old. Oh, I'm going into my crown chakra. Now I'm going through these chakras. I'm going to go here and go to my heart chakra. And I'm going to just burst this energy out my fingertips. And so I had all that in my mind. But when I took my hands and I wrapped them around my jaw and my teeth. And I didn't quite do the same thing. I had them there and I go, first off, in my mind, I'm telling my teeth, I'm really sorry I broke you. Forgive me for breaking you, for hurting you. And I thank you for all the lovely work you've given me for 75 years of my life. It's been a beautiful experience. I'm sorry, but I love you. And I did this, I love you, for like 2 minutes. I'm just visualizing these teeth, and I'm visualizing light and love. I didn't ask for healing. I had no intentions of doing anything. It'd be nice if I could eat. So if the pain went down a little bit, that's okay. But I didn't do it for expectations. I did it because I loved my teeth. I wanted them to know that. That was as simple as that. And as people tell me, oh, you're so childlike. And I go, yeah. That's not an insult to me. Yeah, you're so simple. I go, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's who I am. So I'm loving my teeth. Then I just dropped my hands. And I don't know, a minute or 2 went by. I wasn't thinking. And then when I thought, well, where's the pain? The pain could have been gone a minute or 2 before that. I don't know. It's just when I thought, where's the pain? That's where I go, oh, I had an awareness that the pain was gone. So at some point, the pain disappeared. I mean, you're talking about a broken tooth loose, sitting down on top of the nerve. Or if you breathed in that cold air, or a glass of water cold on the nerve, nothing. I went, hey. So I was kind of thought, well, that was kind of neat. And I had a friend his name is Steve, and he lives in London. And I had call Steve, tell him about it. Well, I don't question myself. It says, call Steve. This thought, so I call Steve. And he comes on Skype or Zoom, whatever I was using, and he doesn't say too much. And I said, well, I just want to tell you a story. And I just told him the story about the, taking away the pain and all that stuff. And he didn't say too much. And then we hung up, and then I called him back the following week, a few days later. And he says, Bill, when you were talking to me, I didn't tell you, but I was in excruciating dental pain, and I can't get a dental appointment in England till July or August. I mean, we get great insurance here, but you can't get in to see anybody, right? So there he is. So he says, and when you talk to me, and all I was doing was focused on you and listening, 20 minutes after you hung up, my pain went away.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was the start. That led to somebody else with shoulder pain. That led to other people. I had when I eventually posted a video on this, I'll tell you the rest of the story. But when I posted the video, first 20 hours, I had 4 people send messages to me other than the first 2. 4 people said, I got healed watching it.
Maybe some will get healed hearing us today. So post it in the comments if you do.
Yeah. So I was hoping people would imitate it and do it, but some people did, and it worked for them or partially worked for them, depending on their level of acceptance. Some people reduced the pain in half. Some people, it took care of the problem. Some people reduced all the pain. What I wanted to teach people, it's in your hands. It's not me. I mean, I'm tired of people wanting me to do stuff and looking for others to do stuff. And I'm going, I want to invite people to the dinner party. I want them to bring their own fish. So they got to learn how to fish. I don't want to catch the fish and cook it, right? They got to catch the fish. So my little video kind of talked about how to do that. But the whole thing was in sequence. It was like, it happened I went to the dentist on Friday, couldn't get in, right? And he's closed Saturday, Sunday. And Monday morning, I was going to the Veterans Hospital to get my blue light treatment. I get this, that's another subject, ultraviolet light healing cancer. So that's the technique they're using on me. So I get this light treatment, but I'm photosensitive for at least 72 hours. So I avoid screens, monitor screens, lights, sunshine, because I'll blister up. So I knew I couldn't go in before Thursday to the dentist's office, but the dentist was telling me July, right? But meanwhile, every day I get a phone call or text message, oh, we got you now in June, and now we got you June 1st. And next thing you know, on Wednesday or something, they go, can you come in tomorrow? I go, yeah, because the time they gave me was 79 hours after I had my treatment, which I got to go 72. So they didn't even know that, but I couldn't have gone in earlier. So that was really the first available date I had to go in and get this done, because you got lights on when you get your dental treatment. So and then just to sweeten it, because in my life nothing comes without lots of gifts, not just one gift, but there's. So my wife's going, oh, this is going to cost us a lot of money on your teeth and all that stuff. I said, well, don't worry about it. It'll work out somehow. So the day before I go to the dentist, somebody sent me a gift card for $100. I was really kind of nice. I said, I got a $25 gift card. That's $125. I get up the next morning before I go to the dentist's office, and there's $500 deposited from a woman, Indian woman. In the middle of the night in my PayPal, there's $500 love donation, just because what I've done for her. Didn't ask for it. None of these gifts I asked for. They were just randomly, the universe gave me $625. So I get the dentist calls me and says, because I don't have dental insurance, and so there's dentists, they want to get paid, right? They go, this is going, Mr. Mcdonald, this is going to be, so you can tell they weren't friends. It wasn't Reverend Bill, it was Mr. McDonald. Mr. McDonald, this is going to be about $625. I said, no problem. Anyways.
It was paid before you even knew the price.
Nothing out of my pocket. So
that's how the universe or energy works, right? It's with intention too. And how can we harness that to heal our pets is, what I want the listeners to get out of it, like, with your stories, is that what they think about their pet. If your pet is sick and you think the worst, oh my God, he looks like he's not gonna make it. They're already in the wrong vibration, right, for the success of that. Or if you go to a doctor where it says, oh yeah, everyone dies. I'll tell you a quick story about that. I used to treat this autoimmune hemolytic anemia, which is an autoimmune condition. The animal just bleeds out. And of course, the first maybe 20 or 25 patients that I've saw in my career, all of them made it. Because I was like, oh yeah, it's autoimmune. You do prednisone, you do this and that, and azathioprine, blah, blah, blah. At those times, I didn't know alternative medicine, so I just had a very strong belief that this disease is curable. You just do this protocol and that's it. And then I went to a conference in emergency medicine, and they said updates on treatment of autoimmune hemolytic anemia. And I thought, all right, I'll just listen to it, just to see what's new. And the first statement of that lecturer was, this is a fatal, almost always fatal disease. 85 to 90% of all pets die. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then I turn around to a colleague who works in the ER, or used to work in this county in ER. She retired. And I turned to her and said, isn't this is wrong, right? They don't die. That's not the fatality rate. And she says, oh, yeah. If they come in my ER, I already know, even with the transfusions, they're going to die. And I was shocked, Reverend, because I was like, how could this be? I missed the boat. What happened, Why is this so? And I believed it. It was crap, and they fed me, and I believed it. Guess what happens? Because the universe plays those games like it does with you and everything. Just to test the theory, that same week, the conference ends on Sunday, and I think it was Wednesday when I get my first case of what? Autoimmune hemolytic anemia. What happened? I did exactly what I've done dozens of times, but the animal doesn't make it. And I'm in shock, and I'm like, oh my God, it's because it's 80% fatal. So I got all the good ones ahead of time. Not all of them are going to die. Then the second time, within the same week, later that week, another case of autoimmune hemolytic anemia. It was doing so poorly that the owners decided, oh, we can't continue. We're going to put it down. And I'm like, oh no. And then I somehow heard something in my head or something. This is your fault. Like, you're believing that it's fatal. Why did it never, why was it that before all of them lived? And of course, because the universe is funny, about a week to 10 days later, I can't remember because this is many years ago, another case of autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Now, it's not that common to have 3 cases within a month. That's not that common unless you're an ER. I'm a general practitioner. So first of all, that's a weird occurrence that you have 3 in 1 month. But the third one, I 100% had a talk. I had prayer. I prayed to God. I said, God, I don't know what I've done, but please, be with me in this treatment, be with this pet. That pet required 3 transfusions, but made it out of here like a brand new dog, never had a relapse again. So, that taught me a lot. And I wasn't even in alternative medicine then, but I was in the power of the mind then. Like I started realizing this pattern that what you think the most and the vibration you're in, especially if you attach emotion to your thoughts, that's when you see big results, bad results or good results, but you see results. Right? When you have like an emotion attached to that thought. And so I made a decision, and I was maybe 5 years out of vet school, and I've been a vet for 27. So I would say the last 22 years, all my clients have benefited from having a staunch believer that I'm doing the best thing, that God's going to shine through, that the animal's going to make it. So everything I approach is like with the most positive outcome in my head. The treatment is going to do good. And, oftentimes I have to even console the clients because they come to me with all this, they Google it. So they know how bad they took the conference. They took the conference notes. They know how bad it is. They know everything about the disease. They know a percentage to live. They know how long they're going to live. And I'm like, well, you know more than God then, because only God knows when is your time. So I am not going to pretend to say that this disease lasts 3 months and then your pet is dead. I said, no, we're just going to treat it and give him the best life. We're going to squeeze every day out of his lifetime. And so that's what my attitude is. And I guess that's why, we're pretty successful, and that's why people keep coming. But it's because of that. And when I I saw that you do the same thing with, the power of intention prayer with love, what you call love. And I do love, I mean, I have an affinity to animals that's incredible. And, but I also love people. And so that I think helps too, because I can love the patient, but I can love the client too, which is sometimes harder, way harder to love the client all the time, especially when they're coming at you with expectations. But if there's something that you can tell our pet lovers out there that can maybe come from your perspective as to how to garner your emotion or intention in order to heal your pet. You did it when you were 9 years old, so it can't be that hard, right?
No, not at all. And for example, even my grandson, he had a bird that flew into the window, sliding glass window. Yeah, that's pretty common, but it looked like it broke its head. It was foam. Its beak was open. It was dead. And he goes out and he picks it up. He puts it in his hand, and he goes, "I got an idea." And he tells his father, "Go get me a glass of water." His father gets a glass of water, takes the bird. He goes, whoosh. Bird goes and flies away. Right. So I've taken birds that have been quote unquote dead, and I comfort them in my hands, and I just think love. I just keep giving love. Sometimes it's a half hour, 45 minutes. I'll be sitting at my computer. I brought a bird in the house, and it was, it was like you could just, the neck was broken. I mean, it had to be.
Oh, and fluffy. Fluffy, yeah.
And I held it for like an hour, just loving it. There was no heartbeat. Then pretty soon there was a little thump, 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 thump. Just a little, you could feel something like a pulse. And then pretty soon I opened it up and it's looking at me. And it flies around my little room here, and I had to catch it then. And then I got the door open and let it go. And it flew out and then sat on a branch and just looked at me. But that happens often. I mean, I've done it with all kinds of small animals. But I'll tell you one thing I've noticed, because when I was a young kid, I worked in a dog kennel where people board their dogs. A couple hundred dogs there. People's attitude when they drop a dog off, it's like dropping off luggage or something. It's like dogs really, I don't know about cats, but I imagine cats don't care. But dogs really do. When their owners just drop them off without, I mean, they're like children. I mean, hug them, say goodbye, not just, okay, here he is, gives the leash, and they walk off and they get in the car and they go on vacation. And I'm going, what part? So then I take this poor animal and the animal's kind of whimpering. It's almost like they're crying. It's almost like they're depressed, hurt. And I got to spend time with them and give love. So when people are bringing their pets to you, the animal is picking up on the feelings of everybody in that family. And if the parents are fighting, the husband and the wife are fighting in front of their dog, people say, well, it affects children. It affects dogs and cats too. It creates a different energy in the household. And you will see this dog come in a little more, anxious, a little more something. There's something going on there. It's like they haven't been beat up physically, but they've been around people that have been emotionally abusive. And animals can get sick. Animals can get sick from a family where there's no love.
Wow.
And I've seen families that are very loving, very caring, and you know what? They're animals too. Their pets kind of reflect the nature of the energy of that house. So energy is very, very important. So patients coming in, them being there, of course, during COVID, that's a different story, but them in the optimum situation, if they're there when you got to give them a shot or something, they're there. That's very calming. It's always good for them, unless they're not really in tune with their animals, and therefore I got to ask why they got one.
For
mean,
all really selfish reasons and superfluous, for status. A lot of these
yeah,
people spend $5,000 on a dog, and then they have any money to take care of them. So it bothers me. It really bothers me that they think of it, like you said, like luggage. Luckily, we weed those people out because this is not the right place for them. I am too caring, and my team is too compassionate, too caring, and too dedicated to the well-being of the animals to entertain people like that. And people that we don't do convenience euthanasia. A lot of people are like, well, I'm moving, I need to put it down. I'm like, what? You don't put down your kids, so that kind of
no,
people. But
look,
those people got bad
yeah,
karma, bad karma in their life. And I hope so, for sure.
yeah, it's like, oh, it's going to cost $175. It's only a cat. Nah,
Yeah.
put it away.
Yeah.
I mean, nah, it's like opposite of my daughter. My daughter, she'd spend $10,000 to save a dog that's already only got 1 year to go. Come on, but it's
Well, that's what they said a year, but I sent her herbs and stuff and loving healing energy. So
you go,
let's see
you go.
who's better at predicting.
Well, in the end, there's no price for love, and if you got a dog, me and cats get along quite well, but dogs are really special. I mean, cats think they're God; they know they're God. And dog is just happy to be with you, But the cat, he figures it's an honor for you to be with them, right? So
I kind of like that attitude.
yeah,
Confidence.
yeah, you can pet me when I want to be petted, right?
Yeah.
Dog, oh, pet me, anytime, right? I'm here. So having a faithful animal, you need to be rewarding a faithful animal that loves you regardless of what happens in your life, no matter what your reputation is in the world, whether you're whoever you are, and evil, good, bad, criminal, bad guy, saint, doesn't make any difference. Dog, that passes no judgment.
Yeah, we should be more like dogs. Yeah.
When you're coming home, who's going to love you? Who's going to love you? Who's your So the dog's going to be there for you. So I think during this COVID time, dogs and cat they've had the best year of their life ever.
You bet. People have definitely turned to them. There's nobody else or anywhere else to go, so they turn to their pets. Thank God we had them, because they, like you said, in unconditional love, pure love, and that's a source of companionship and warding off depression. Because with COVID, a lot of people have been depressed. The energy of COVID have been of fear. When you turn the TV and everything, there's so much fear, and that's an emotion, a very strong emotion. And so I've seen a rise in cases of cancer and everything in my clinic. We've taken spleens out like on a weekly basis from cancer from the spleen, and in Chinese medicine, the spleen is controlled by the liver, and the liver is very damaged by stress. And so I feel that there's a stress and depression that is being energetically passed on to our animals. They catch it. And I even think that because we are energy and we extend past, in my opinion, past our flesh meat suit. The same happens with the dogs and cats. They extend. Our cat and your dog is bigger than what the meat suit is that they're wearing. I mean, and so that energy field of your cat or dog blends with your energy field, and there's some exchange of information here. So when you're stressed, you're passing that on. And of course, they usually pass only good, but we can pass bad juju to them. That's what I observe. Well, do you think I'm too off line here, or do you think my theories sound?
If you tuned your ability to be able to see that energy field, it's there. It's not as big as a human's energy field, but I think if science had a way to measure it where you could show the human and the cat together, you would see that when the cat is being pet, that the energy field would expand, or the dog, it would expand. Humans are healthy for animals for the most part. Domesticated pets. I mean, think about a pet. What's the whole idea of a pet? I mean, humans from cave, and they living in a cave, in the old days, Why do they want a pet? There's something really interesting about that. The whole psychological thing. Why do you want to take this animal in, this wild animal, and keep it with the family and sleep with the family? There was this special bonding that goes back. It's really primitive. It's in us. It's our primitive genes that we've always had dogs and cats.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a beautiful thing. You got time? I'll tell you a cat story.
Tell me a cat story so that all our cat lovers listening don't feel sided by it.
You read my autobiography, so you know that I had really bad experiences with my stepdad shooting both my dogs.
Yeah.
So when I grew up, I don't get dogs. I got cats. Like I didn't want to say goodbye to another dog. So I had this cat, and when I was gone on a business trip, 2 neighborhood dogs got out. And, when dogs get together, there's like a pack, right? And they attacked my cat. It was outside in my yard. They got into my yard, and they grabbed the head, and they grabbed the back, and they pretty much killed it. And I was gone. I wasn't there to see the mangled body. And my neighbor did take it to a vet. The vet just goes, "Yeah, it's dead. Why'd you bring it in?" Right? But that was a $300-400 bill for the guy to say, "Yes, it's dead." So anyway, I billed the dog owners. I said, "Tell me, you can pay this." Anyway, so I was feeling really bad, as you could feel for losing an animal. People that don't have animals, they don't understand that it's like a family member dying.
Yeah.
I believe in reincarnation and life and all this stuff, and I'm pretty good. But that cat used to follow me around the yard, follow me around the house. He used to climb up I have an attic, and I got pulled down stairs to go to it in my garage. And I had 2 chairs set up there under this skylight, and I had a little altar, and I did my meditation and prayers up there. And I'd have the ladder down, and when I went up there, the cat would come up there. He'd jump into the second chair next to me. Mm-hmm. And if I was there for an hour or 2, he'd be sitting there an hour or 2. When I'm meditating, he's just laying there. Animals, especially cats, love to be around people meditating. There's something about the meditative energy that they just crave. I mean, the cat would just stay there. It was just a beautiful thing. So I had this bond. So when I got home, I never saw the body. It was left at the vets. They took care of it. But I missed it. And it used to, at nighttime, used to jump up on the bed, and walk up there, and then it would get between, my head and my wife. My wife would get away, but it would get right up next to me, and, with its whiskers and its fur, and it would start purring, and, and all over and paw on my head and all that. I mean, it was kind of annoying, but I never complained. It was like, okay, but I missed it. So I'm laying there on a Sunday morning, sun's coming up, and I'm just waking up, but there's that familiar bounce on the bottom of the bed, and coming up, and my mind at that hour is like, oh, it's my cat, Fluffy, whatever, Fluffy, and it was my cat, and next thing you know, I got whiskers and I got fur up against my face, and I'm kind of doing this and that, and then first I turn around and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I go, oh. So that was kind of Fluffy's way to say goodbye.
It was closure for you, yeah. It was is the beauty of God's mercy that always, finds you and makes life better for you. I am so happy, and you did not disappoint me with the awesome stories today. With this first Skype. I know that a lot of people probably are going to be very curious about how to find more about Reverend Bill Mcdonald. And of course, the books are out there. Warrior, A Spiritual Odyssey is the one that I have in my hand. And they will find you in your YouTube, and they'll find you on Facebook. And I just have to maybe tell our listeners how we met. I read your book, your first group, Alchemy of a Warrior's Heart, and I was inspired in the middle of the night. I just sent it. I don't even remember what time, but it was the middle of the night here. And I was just asleep, and then I was awake, and I said, no, I have to maybe mention something to this. And it says here, if you how to contact the author. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just send you an email. And then you take over so my middle of the night somehow, this inspiration to send you an email telling you how great the book was and how you helped me and everything, and I was asking for some guidance for some personal issues, but you were so gracious to answer, and I couldn't believe it because I know you receive thousands of emails every day, so I don't know how you open mine, but you can tell our listeners real quick how, so that they understand the power of synchronicity and the power of energy. When you put something with emotion, when you pet your pet, when you love your pet, when your pet is sick, and you send love, prayers, and healing vibes to them, how it works, it always turns out great. So tell us how you did it.
Well, first off, I remember when you sent the message, I was up early myself. I read it early in the morning, and my thought was, why did it take you this long? I was expecting it earlier. And I say that because if you go to my YouTube channels or read my last book, I talk about my third near-death experience. And in my third near-death experience, I had this great vision of all these people coming, if I continue to live and come back, that all these faces of these people and animals, there was animals in there too, there was some dogs, that all these people were part of my life. And if I didn't come back to my body, I just had open heart surgery. If I didn't come back to my body, that all these people would be missing out on a gift that I could give them. I had no obligation to them, no karmic debt, done everything I was supposed to do, but it was more like, yeah, but they need it. No, but they need this. And so I'm still seeing these thousands of faces revealed to me as people contact me. When somebody contacts me, I sense, okay, that's one, and I'll respond to that one. I can't. I get over 1,000 a week. I really don't. I can't respond to them all. Some people I will do one a week. Maybe I'll do a Zoom talk with or something, or 10 or 12 I might do an email back. But I just can't do it. But I send everybody that contacts me love. And so in your particular case, what was good was my daughter was going through these things with her boxer. She's got a boxer? Yeah, boxer. And so your advice to her was right on. It helped her. She was dealing with, the animals crawling out to you. Her boxer's telling her, please, get a hold of Mitsie. Come on. So you never know which way the universe is going to go. But since we've met, we've connected, there's a lot of things that have happened. You can call it, being in sync with the universe, being in tune with the universe, I just say this, when I get up in the morning, it's always good morning. It's never a good God, it's morning. It's always, God, this is beautiful. It's another wonderful day in the neighborhood. Me and Mr. Rogers see eye to eye. I mean, really. And everything that happens in my life, some people say, well, that's terrible. That's like breaking the teeth. That was terrible. That was a beautiful thing. Because as of today, as we're talking, there's probably a dozen people that have been healed from that story being shared.
Uh-huh.
Those over the next 10 years, right? So it's energy that just keeps giving, even if I'm not going to be here. It's energy. So how can I say that was a terrible thing? I would do that over again in a heartbeat. Break 3 more of my teeth that had the same results. Because it brought together my faith and trust in the universe. And it also taught people that you are the healer. The only thing that stops people's healing is them, your beliefs. But I tried to think, what? I had one lady said, well, I did everything you said there. I believe that. I said, no, you believe. I said, that's nothing more than a lukewarm wish.
Yeah.
What's the wish that I believe? You go, I know. It has just to be, I know, I'm going to do this. There's no, I believe, I wanna, I wish, it's got to be stronger than that.
Yeah.
But again, you don't tell God what you want. God will know what this animal needs or what this person needs. And so your job is, like when you being a veterinarian, when you pray, you should just give me the wisdom, give me the tools, give me the intelligence, give me the knowledge I need to do whatever I need to do. The result is not in your hands.
Yeah.
But you're a tool, and a tool's got to do its job.
Yeah.
But you're not creating the healing. That's only from the healer. And an animal, even though they're not like a human, where the human's got a real buy-in in the process, an animal will buy in on that process from the energy around them.
Yeah. So important.
So if they're surrounded by a very loving community and they still serve a purpose with that family, sometimes it is a dog's or cat's time to go. Maybe it's time they're going to move on to another level. Maybe they've taught that family. I try to tell people, animals are teaching you something. You may ignore them, and then there's this pet, if you're really alert, they're teaching you a lot of things about yourself, about your own energy, about acceptance, forgiveness. You could yell at a dog, blah, blah, blah. You know what? They've forgiven you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you swatted them with a newspaper or something, they've forgiven you. They're there to, if you love them today, that's all that counts, that moment. They'll always forgive you. That's a big lesson for all of us. I mean, God is forgiven everything. There's nothing we can't do. He never got to a point where he had to forgive anybody because he was never at that level of being angry or disappointed with anybody. It's, you only forgive people if I got hurt. So I got 3-4 things that I do for all healings. I always start with me. Love me.
Mm-hmm.
Be thankful. Be grateful. And forgive yourself. But if you can't forgive yourself, you can't love yourself. If you can't love yourself, you can't forgive yourself. So it's kind of all hand in hand. So you gotta be in tune with you before you be tuned with the rest of the world. So I hope that helps people. If people want to go, by the way, I give it a free for those on the East Coast or wherever they want to come in. I'm going to be in North Carolina, and if they go to my Facebook page, they'll be able to see updates on it. But I decided when the COVID is over here in September, the last weekend of September, 25th, 26th, 24th, 25th, right around there, I'm giving a free spiritual workshop. First 3 hours is for veterans community, and the afternoon of Saturday, and then the whole day of Sundays for everybody. But anybody can attend all of it because I got something of value for all of it. But I do want at least a 3-hour block at that time at the beginning of it, because there's people out there that don't understand warriors. They don't understand the veteran community. They don't understand how they can be spiritual. They don't understand how they're hurt. And they don't understand that veterans just want to be understood and loved. And a lot of them, especially Vietnam vets and these guys coming back from wars now, that the rest of the population has no idea what they've been through. So I'm trying to take these people and say, okay, you're not a victim anymore. We're going to love you. And we're going to teach you to love yourself. And we're going to teach you to move on from this because you only can live in the now. Let's all get here together and let's go forward. So free workshop. Did I say it was free?
Yeah.
No cost. Nothing.
Well, sounds like a road trip for me coming up in my future. But thank you so much for being with us today, Reverend. And I am so excited to share with our listeners, your wisdom about healing. We are healers. We can influence our pet's health. So keep on praying, keep on expecting good results, keep on trusting in God that your pet's going to be better. Those are always positive attitudes, and we try to definitely show that to our patients. So Thank you, everybody listening. And please subscribe to the podcast and visit our website or pethealerpodcast.com or our YouTube channel, the Pet Healer Podcast. And Orchid Springs Animal Hospital also has one. So we can, share and keep on learning and raising awareness about all of these modalities. Thank you, and see you next time.
There you go. That was pretty good.
I liked it. I
All right,
liked it a lot.
so we had pets in there. We had energy.